G'day, Julio here. Have a Go Spaghettio. The application of rational emotive behavior therapy principles in daily teaching practice. Have a Go Spaghettio is an early childhood approach to social and emotional learning. Today we're going to talk about conservation of the self. When we talk about the self in terms of rational emotive behavior therapy, we're talking about self-acceptance. Albert Ellis introduced the idea of unconditional self-acceptance, the idea that no matter how badly we do at something or how others may or may not esteem us highly or otherwise, that doesn't detract or diminish our worth. So what is the self? This is the definition of the internet. The self is the individual's totality and their sense of who they are, encompassing their unique identity, personality traits, beliefs, values, and experiences. It can be seen as the source of consciousness, the agent of one's thoughts and actions, and the core identity that persists over time. So the idea of self is, for me, is something that's constructed, that we build an idea or a belief about who we are based on many factors, but at the end we are a complexity of many traits, qualities, characteristics. And the idea of developing an unconditional sense of acceptance of self is that no one individual trait or capacity or competency can define who we are. Unfortunately, sometimes we might tend to rely on other people's approval of us. In other words, what they think about us becomes more important than what we think about ourselves. So the whole idea of Have a Go Spaghettio is to help children develop a sense of worth that does not depend on the assessment of others. We might prefer that other people approve of us or esteem us highly, but we also accept that we don't need that for us to be worthwhile people. So that's the Have a Go Spaghettio, I'm worthwhile crocodile habit or belief, way of thinking that we call unconditional self-acceptance. So through the Have a Go Spaghettio approach to social emotional learning, we teach specifically the idea of unconditional self-acceptance, meaning that my worth is not contingent on how others might perceive me or think about me or how well or badly I do at tasks. And we call that unconditional self-acceptance, and that's an idea about ourselves that we want children to conserve. They get to the point of conservation of the self, where they know that failure and the appraisal of others cannot diminish their worth. So the irrational perspective or opposite of that, or the brain bully way of thinking, is that I'm okay if you think I'm okay, or I'm okay only if I do well at what I set out to achieve. I call that a retarded conditional self, because the self is always in a flux of positivity and negativity depending on how other people might esteem us or how well we do at stuff. Albert Ellis called this conditional self-acceptance, meaning that a belief that I'm only okay, for instance, if you believe I'm okay. So, and that's he said that that's the definition of self-esteem. So we want children to get to the point where they reach the ability to conserve their unconditional self-acceptance status. And that's the whole idea behind I'm worthwhile crocodile thinking and believing. So here's the Have a Go Spaghettio chart. We talk about the 6 capabilities or competencies, characteristics, qualities, behaviors that help us to manage ourselves, negotiate the trials and the barriers and the hurdles that are put in front of us, so we can navigate around them and over them and under them to get to where we need to go and to deal with disappointment in a healthy way. So we're talking about rational thinking, we're talking about brain-friend thinking, we're talking about success helper thinking. Success helper thinking or success helper philosophy underpins all of these choices of behavior we can make, these competencies, qualities that we talk about. There are 6 of them there, we've talked about them before. So we want children to develop healthy attitudes towards themselves, others, and life in general. And when we talk about conservation of the self, we're talking about teaching to explicitly and reinforcing and revisiting the idea of I'm worthwhile crocodile thinking, the idea that I'm okay no matter what. So that's the whole idea or the purpose of the Have a Go Spaghettio approach to social emotional learning. It's designed to apply in the classroom setting, but it's also useful to apply and implement across the whole school setting. So that's the Have a Go Spaghettio approach to social emotional behavioral well-being, and specifically we want to help children develop a very robust unconditional self-acceptance, I'm worthwhile crocodile type of thinking. So we want children to develop an idea of unconditional self-acceptance. We want them to know that their worth is not tethered to the esteem of others or how others might esteem them, or how well or badly they might perform at a task, for instance. Once they understand this and they practice it, it becomes automatic and it becomes something that they conserve. When they reach the ability to for metacognition between the ages of 12 and 15, and they've got a background of Have a Go Spaghettio type of teaching and learning, then they have the capacity to manage their emotions, understand that when they feel excessively upset or angry or whatever about a situation, brain body thinking or irrational thinking is driving that. So what is it that they're thinking? Are they believing that their worth is tethered to how other people opine about them? Are they depending too much on the approval of others? And they can think about that, they can reflect on that, and they can decide how they're going to alter their thinking or change the way they're thinking so that they can just get on with things successfully. So this is the Have a Go Spaghettio song again. Talked about it many times. The Have a Go Spaghettio song is something we would sing in the classroom at the beginning of the day. It sets up the day. It alerts us to the idea that the day will unfold in a way where we will have happy times, hopefully most of the time, but we're going to have difficult times. There are going to be times when, or situations where they're going to challenge us, and how do we meet these challenges? But no matter what, at the end of the day, we will revisit this song and we will remind ourselves that even though things haven't gone our way, that's got nothing to do with our worth. We are always we're always worthwhile crocodile. So that's the Have a Go Spaghettio song, as we've spoken of many times before. And have a go Spaghettio. So I'll leave you with this quote, as I have on other occasions. The future of psychotherapy, psychology in the school system. Have a Go Spaghettio is one way of applying those principles in daily teaching practice, learning in the early childhood setting. We want children to develop a sense of self that is strong and it's rational, and helps them deal with adversity especially. But it helps them to manage themselves so they don't get themselves too upset about situations that they have the potential to deal with if they think about their thinking. So we want children to learn that thinking, feeling and behaving are all interconnected. So if you come across this on your YouTube channel travels and you use it in any way, or you have any kind of advice or feedback, then I would appreciate that. Thank you very much. Until next time, have a go Spaghettio. Give it a try. Banana pie.